I have not attempted to sell you a tainted bill of goods here. I have not tried to sell you something that you don't need to buy. I have told you how I feel about bowl games really for the last year and a half. When LSU came off the field in the Texas Bowl, I was like, man, that was really stupid. John Trey Kirkland was playing quarterback. That was dumb. And the next year, LSU went over to Florida, and Purdue didn't have any of their players or their coaches, and they had Drew Brees over there, and that game was stupid. It was stupid. LSU beat them by 55, and it was completely non-competitive from the start. And at that point, I looked at these bowl games and went, how am I possibly supposed to care about this? And I really don't. I really don't care if LSU wins or loses the bowl game. That's like, I'm not trying to be like negative Nancy. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm not trying to be a curmudgeon. I'm not even trying to be a hot take guy that's just trying to spit something out. Like, it just, I've watched it. I know that I've watched Florida State go out there in the bowl game last year and not even try. So how am I supposed to get completely invested? I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be invested. If you love LSU and when they kick it off, you're fired up to watch them play, go ahead. They're playing Dave Aranda, a little emotional tie there. Like, have at it. I just can't do it. And I'm not going to fake it for the purposes of the radio show. However, that said, I want to be very clear about that. I think there are some things to watch in this game that don't have anything to do with winning and losing. Like last year at this time, I was telling you, I don't really care if they beat Wisconsin in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Don't care. But Garrett Nussmeier is going to play in this game, and he's had a month to get prepared with Joe Sloan, who's going to be the offensive coordinator next year. I think that's an interesting storyline. And honestly, I'd rather Garrett Nussmeier throw for 360 and 4 touchdowns and lose than Garrett Nussmeier throw for $114, 2 picks, and win. And that's what I was interested in. It just so happens that last year, Garrett Nussmeier did play a good game. He led the drive down the field to win the game at the end, and all was well in the world. I thought that was great. And in this way, I am interested in a few aspects of the football program, specifically next year's team, that will be on display in this game. And I wrote about it at LouisianaSports.net, but I'll kind of go through it here on air. I think that Gio Paez and Paris Shand will probably play in this game. To this point, the only person that I've seen reported I'm not playing in this game is Will Campbell. As far as the guys who haven't gone in the transfer portal, we're talking NFL draft guys. We know at this point that Braden Swenson's going to play. I believe Miles Frazier's going to play. I think Gio Paez and Paris Shand are going to play in this game. I don't know that, but I'm working off of that assumption. Those guys deserve to play one more time. They have been selfless. They have moved position to position. They've done what they've been asked. They've been productive, playing at a spot they probably weren't planning on playing. And so if they want to go out there and fight, absolutely, go get it. That said, I want to watch Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Breaux play, and I'll be watching those two guys and see how they look as they continue to progress at the end of their freshman seasons. The last time we saw those two guys was against Oklahoma. McKinley had a couple of sacks. Breaux got back there for a tackle for loss, and we saw those guys kind of coming on as freshmen. So I'm excited to watch those two guys, and I'm hopeful that they're part of the next great LSU defensive line that hopefully starts next season. We know that Bo Davis is a heck of a coach. We know that that position on the field has had a ridiculous amount of coaching turnover and instability, and I'm excited to see those guys develop. So I'll be excited to watch Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Breaux at defensive tackle for LSU in this game. If you flip sides of the line of scrimmage and I stick with tackle here, I'm excited to watch a pair of young tackles play. I said Will Campbell's not going to play. That probably means that Tyree Adams is going to be the left tackle. I don't think Emory Jones is going to play in this game. And so that could mean that you see Weston Davis at another tackle. Now, if you check the Zapruder tape of the video that was out there with LSU's practice this week, folks are surmising that Miles Frazier might play right tackle in this game. And that would take Weston Davis potentially off the field. If that's the case, maybe he does get a chance to play a little bit. I'm all for Miles Frazier getting to play at right tackle. That's a 3-year starter for LSU who may want to put that on tape for his NFL draft prospects. And if he wants to do that and play some tackle, I'm okay with that. You put in enough work playing in this game, that's cool. But I'd really like to see Weston Davis play because right now, while you look at the transfer portal, LSU has not added a tackle. I believe they will, but they haven't to this point. Well, I want to watch Weston Davis and Tyree Adams go play because those could be your tackles next year. Again, I would guess LSU lands at least one, if not two, starting tackles out of the portal, but I'd like to see Adams and Weston Davis play. That would be the second thing I'm watching for in this game. The third one is not a young player. You look at McKinley, Breaux, freshman. You look at Weston Davis and Tyree Adams, freshman. This is not a freshman. This is a guy who actually could enter the NFL draft, but I'd like to see him play in this game and show off the skills. That's Chris Hilton. You know the story by now, but I'll put some numbers to it. LSU threw the ball as well as anybody in the Southeastern Conference this year. However, they were 9th in the SEC with catches of 30-plus yards. They only did that 20 times on the season. That was 9th in the league. I think Chris Hilton helps. In the Oklahoma game, he had 2 touchdowns of 40-plus yards. That's the skill set that he brings. And I would like to see him healthy out there producing because he could be a key piece to next year's receiving corps. And I would love to see him do that. Now, I understand if he goes out there and makes 3, 50-plus yard touchdown catches, he may ride that momentum right to the NFL Combine and the draft because he's got that opportunity. But I'd like to see Chris Hilton out there in the bowl game making some vertical plays in the passing game. That's number 3 of what I'd like to see in this bowl game. Number 4 is safety. Safety, safety, safety. They have been awful at safety this year, and Brian Kelly has said it. We have talked about it. I think the guys are playing hard. I just don't think that they've gotten a lot of production out of that unit. And you look up and you realize that Sage Ryan's in the portal, and who knows what Major Burns does in this game. But really, to me, what's important, and look, Jordan Allen's in the portal, Kylan Jackson's in the portal. Deshaun Spears is probably going to play in this game is what I'm getting at. And I want to see Deshaun Spears play in this game because that's a guy we thought was going to get to the field pretty quickly and make an impact. And quite frankly, he did get to the field quickly. Nichols was week 2. He played 28 snaps in that game. South Carolina's the first SEC game. He played 44 snaps at South Carolina. At that point, I'm looking at a freshman who didn't start the first game, only played 1 defensive snap, and then he's making 44 snaps in South Carolina. That's a guy who's probably going to stick on the field. Well, he didn't because he played 37 snaps against UCLA, 37 snaps against South Alabama, and then never saw more than 13 the rest of the way. So he was basically taken out of the rotation. Well, I need to see him in the rotation for the Baylor game. I just do because the talent level there is big. That's something that you can go out to practice and you can see. I tell you all the time that we can't see a ton at practice, but we can see who's big, strong, and fast. And Deshaun Spears is big, strong, and fast. How well he knows the defense, how well he plays the football, how well he tackles. I don't know for sure any of those things, but I know he's big, strong, and fast. And in an inconsequential game like this, where it doesn't really matter if you make a big mistake, I would like to see Deshaun Spears out there at safety. That's the 4th thing I'm looking for in this Texas Bowl. The last one is at a spot where LSU doesn't have any options. It's a tight end. Like Mason Taylor, I don't think is playing in this game. Kamorian Pimpton's in the portal. We know that Mac Markway left a long time ago. All that's left is Trey Dez Green. You can toss a walk-on in there to try to block a little bit. You can throw a different jersey number on Bo Bordelon, although he might play right guard. But really the only tight end that you've got available is Trey Dez Green. Now, he's been working at receiver, and maybe they feel like at this point it's not worth spending a month putting his hand in the dirt and playing tight end when he's been working at receiver for a month and a half. But I would counter that. I would go, that's a guy who you profile as a tight end who's already 245, 250 pounds, who needs to learn to block and needs to be a force from the tight end position. I'm fine with him splitting him out a good bit, but he does need to show that he can come in line and put his hand on the ground and help in the running game. And I would like to see some of that in this game. I know that they're going to bring in some portal guys at tight end. They've got Bauer Sharp, and we know that J.D. LaFleur's coming in, and they may grab another tight end in the transfer portal. But Trey Dez Green is a freak talent who's going to be a big piece of this program, we think, the next couple of years. And this is a chance for him to get in there, and if he whiffs a block, he whiffs a block. It's fine. I'd rather him do it against Baylor than do it against Clemson. And honestly, I'd like to see him make some catches a little bit more down the field. Do y'all realize that of his 7 grabs this year, the longest of the year was 12 yards? I know that 2 went for touchdowns, but he never really made a big play. And I'd like to see Trey Dez Green make some big plays. I promise you. He's fast enough to get down the field. He can jump high enough to go get the football. And I want to see him play a little bit more. I'm fully on board with Mason Taylor playing every snap all year long. Great, great tight end. Most productive in the history of the school. Got it. So that doesn't afford a ton of time for Trey Dez Green unless they're going to go to a 2-tight end set, which nobody runs a ton of this day and age. But now Mason Taylor's not going to play all the reps. He's going to play none of the reps in this game. So to me, I want to get Trey Dez Green on the field in normal tight end circumstances and see how he's progressed this year. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.